What was the Titanic? By Stephanie Sabul. Looks like the Titanic was a boat. It says Titanic here. There was people aboard. Looks like it maybe was built in England. Ran by steam. Looks like it sailed during the cold weather. And it looks like it's crashing and people are leaving the boat. What was the Titanic? This picture indicates that it did crash. Content. What was the Titanic? The age of steam, building the Titanic, fitting out the ship, stuff and more stuff, life aboard the ship, warnings, iceberg, abandoned ship, rescue, the lost, discovery, what if, timelines, bibliographies. So from the table of contents, I could tell that the Titanic was a steamboat, that it was a ship that did crash maybe into an iceberg. People did get away and they were rescued. Some of them were lost. And eventually the boat sunk and it was discovered later on. This picture here shows that it looks like it was a very fancy ship with people that had money. It looks like there's a lot of people. There's also waiters, cooks to make the food. What was the Titanic? April 14th, 1912. The grandest luxury ship ever, the Titanic was crossing the Atlantic Ocean. It was on its maiden or first voyage. The ship had left England 4 days earlier. It was making great time. In just a few days, the Titanic was scheduled to arrive in New York City. Aboard ship, the evening of April 14th seemed just like any other. First-class passengers enjoyed a feast with 10 courses, including oysters and filet mignon. The Titanic's captain, Edward John Smith, joined a dinner party in first class. It was hosted by a wealthy couple from Philadelphia. After dinner, some first-class passengers played cards or listened to the orchestra. In second class, so it shows here that the Titanic sailed April 14th, 1912, and that this chapter is going to talk to us about what the Titanic was. A minister sang hymns with about 100 people. Down in third class, passengers danced together in their lounge, known as the General Room. But after a long day at sea, many aboard the Titanic were already in bed. Captain Smith checked in with his officers at the bridge around 9 p.m. The bridge was the command center of the ship. Smith told his officers to let him know if any problems arose. Then he went to his cabin. Outside, the night was very cold. There was no moon, but the sky was clear. Thousands of stars shone brightly. The sea was so calm, it looked like a mirror. No waves rippled in the distance. Up in the crow's nest, 2 lookouts kept watch, ready to spot danger. In this part of the Atlantic, ice was a concern. Ships had to be very careful to avoid hitting an iceberg. The 2 lookouts chatted and tried to keep warm. This picture here shows the Titanic. It was a steamboat. We see icebergs here, so there was icebergs. Then suddenly at 11:40 p.m., almost out of nowhere, a large black shape came over into view. Could it be? Yes, it was an iceberg. The iceberg was almost directly ahead of the ship. It looked like the ship might run straight into it. The lookouts rang the warning bell 3 times, the signal for an emergency. They telephoned the bridge where the officers were stationed. Icebergs right ahead, they shouted. The officers only had 37 seconds to respond. First Officer William Murdoch conducted the engine room and ordered the ship's engines stopped and put into reverse. Would the Titanic avoid the iceberg, or was it too late? So here we see the Titanic, and it's showing the third class, the first class, the cabins, the grand staircase, the lookout post. So it was a big ship. The graphic organizer that I'm going to use is a descriptive one, where we can take words from the book to describe the Titanic.